Alright, why don't we try to make the information that we got in the last lesson stick by creating our own views. Let's go ahead to the views directory and we're going to create a home.edge file. And Adonis uses the Edge templating engine, which is really powerful. You should go ahead and check it out. It has a separate documentation from the Adonis documentation, but I'm just going to be showing you around like the little things that we can do with Edge. So I'll generate an HTML file right here. I'm just going to call this home view. And right here, I'm just going to say this is the home view in an H1 tag. I'll head over back to my routes and I'll define a new route. And I'm just going to say route.on/home.render home.edge, which means when the user visits this endpoint, render the home rather than the welcome. So we're going to see the home that we just created, right? So if I head over back to my browser, quick refresh, we still have the welcome. If I go to home, we have this is the home view message, right? So we can actually create our own views, right? What about having really organized views? So for example, maybe you had a user directory where you put everything that concerned the user. For example, the profile for the user.edge, and this is the profile page. So how are you going to actually get this, right? So in your routes file, we can create a new route, route.on user profile.render. Then for us to get a nested Edge template, we just need to specify the directory, and then using a dot notation, we can get the view in that. So if we had many nested directories, we're just gonna keep dotting till we get to that view file. Okay, so coming to our application, I'm visiting user/profile. We have, this is the profile page. Okay, so that's how we can actually get nested. But what about sending the user's data if we wanted to? So remember we said this is the shorthand syntax, but if we want to actually maybe pass data or do some application logic, then we actually have to define a get route as such, right? So I'm just going to call this user/profile. The second parameter right here is going to be the function that will be executed when the user hits this endpoint. And right here, I'm going to receive the context. So in this case, I need only the view. I don't need the request. I don't need the response. Then I'm going to return view.render, and I'm rendering user.profile view, right? So if I refresh, we should still have exactly the same thing, but I can pass user data right here as the second parameter into the render function. So let's say we wanted to pass the username, and the username will be France. We can now go to our profile.edge, and right here we can say this is the profile page of. Then using this double mustache syntax, we can print out username. Okay, because once we pass it as a second parameter to this render function, it's automatically going to be available in this file as a variable. So right here, we are telling Edge to print out whatever is stored in this username variable. So if we refresh, we have, this is the profile page of France. Going back to the routes file, we can change this to anything. Okay, Genovese, refresh, Genovese. Okay, so that's how we can actually pass data to our views. That's how we can create our own custom views, and that's how we can actually nest our views as much as we want to. See you in the very next lesson where we talk about something more fun.